Today I'm going over my Garmin EchoMap Ultra 2 126 SV. I've owned it for about a couple months now, and I decided that I'm going to do a walkthrough on all the different features it has on it. I did something like this similar a couple of years ago and you guys seem to really like it, so I'm going to do it for this one. I'm going to go through all the different features that you get with the unit. I have a couple other plans for the future on videos more specific about the fish finder, like how to read down imaging, how to read side imaging, how to use live scope, those types of videos. So if that interests you, make sure you hit subscribe. I'm not going to go into crazy depth on the different features, but I want to show you what the unit comes with. So to start, you just slide up right here and you hit home, and you have these 5 different categories. You have charts, sonar, combo, vessel, and gauges. So there's 3 here in the chart section. First is the nav chart, which is what is up currently. This is just to help you navigate around mainly. And this is in simulator mode right now, so I think it has us somewhere down in Florida. It shows a whole bunch of different information on where you're fishing at, and you can also see some of the markers right here. There's a lot of different features that are on this chart, so I'm not going to go into crazy depth. I mostly use another chart here. So the chart that I mainly use is the fishing chart personally. I just like it more. And as you can see, I have stuff color coded, so I know how deep some stuff is depending on where I'm at with the boat. So red, I do 0 to 5. Orange, I do 5 to 10. Yellow is 10 to 15. Green is 15 to 20. Blue is 20 to 30. And purple is 30 to 40. So you can't really see anything right here right now. But if I go somewhere where you guys can actually see maybe some of the differences. So this is kind of like what I would see as an example. You can see like, well, this is where it's deeper, but there's some really shallow water right here. So that's where I'd look at, depending on the time of year. I'll go into this more in depth on how to read charts in the future, but I just wanted to show how you can color code certain depths. You can kind of just look at it with a quick glance and know how deep of water you're in. The other chart here is the 3D chart. Personally, I hardly ever use this, but I like the fishing chart more personally, but I know a lot of people who do use this. So it is pretty handy depending on your current situation. The next category here is sonar. This is where all your different sonar is on your fish finder. So right here, this is traditional. And I have it in simulation mode currently. I'm actually currently standing here in the yard. I just kind of wanted to show you kind of the different features and everything that it has. This is pretty good for going over and trying to find fish whenever you're scanning downwards. The next one here is the clear view. And this is nice to see where bass can hang out around like trees or underwater rocks or boulders or grass lines or whatever from a down perspective. And then the next one here is the split frequency. The split frequency allows you to view sonar data from 2 different frequencies side by side on the screen, which can be pretty useful depending on your current situation. And looking it up here, it says, for example, a 77 kilohertz frequency might be used for scanning larger areas in deeper water, while a 200 kilohertz frequency provides more detail in shallow areas. I've hardly used this feature. It's something new that is on this fish finder, so I still have to kind of learn about it, but it's pretty nice to have. The next one on the list is the flasher. I don't use this personally. I live down in North Carolina, so I've never ice fished like that down here. So this is for you northern guys. You guys probably know more about it than I do. And then you got the side view, which is good for side imaging. This is what side imaging looks like generally. So there's this white line here in the middle, and you can see that it has different ranges depending on what you set it to. So right now it's on auto, but you can set it to like 100 feet, 150, or whatever you want, depending on the situation. So it's 70 feet from each side. So you can see different types of structure and everything. So you can also see some fish too on it. So this is a side image view, and depending on the color of the return, you can determine what the bottom looks like. If it's like a solid bottom, it'll have a stronger return. And if it's a softer bottom, it's going to have a weaker return. So this can be really useful whenever finding fish and finding different places where the fish will hang out. The next feature is the live view down. This is used with your live scope, and this can be incredibly useful depending on the situation you're in. Personally, I don't use it that much, but some people do like the different live scope features. But this can be really useful whenever scanning downwards with your live scope unit trying to find fish. The next feature is front view, and this is a frontwards view. I have this in simulation mode, so I'm not really too sure what's on here right now, but this is like a frontwards view of your unit depending on where you're at. You have to have your transducer in forward mode depending on what transducer you have. I'll probably do another video going more in depth on the different live scope features in the future. This is just kind of a brief overview. But the next feature here is the Real 3D Historical, which I've never used personally, but I can definitely see that it has a purpose, probably in different applications. Personally, I don't use this. It's pretty cool that it's on here. It's never a bad thing to have different features. But the next feature here is live scope, which you guys know what live scope is. This can be very useful for finding fish and seeing your bait get struck in real time. Right now, this looks like a bridge column, I'm pretty sure. But there's many different things that you can see underwater, and it's really helpful for finding fish even if you don't use it for catching fish. The next feature here is the perspective, and perspective is basically a mode that you use whenever you're in shallow water or fishing like a shallow flat. You can see right here it looks like there's a foundation of a house, and you can also see fish very easily in shallow water like this, which can be pretty useful depending on the time of year you're fishing, especially in the spring whenever you're trying to target spawning bass. And it has a bigger radius so you can see much broader, and this can be very useful whenever trying to find bass up shallow. So that covers all for this section here. The next tab here is all the different combos, which is different features that I've kind of already showed you so far. You can set these up however you want, but there's many different ones that you can choose from. So you can add your own depending on it. I'll show you that real quick. So let's say right here, I want to add, let's see, traditional, and then I want to add, let's say, a fishing chart. Now you have it. So you can do it with different modes. You can set up different sections. You can have 4 on here, or you can do however you want, depending on the different situation that you're in. And this can be really useful, especially customizing your fish finder to tailor it towards your preferences and what you need it for. So some of these different combos that are on here is the fishing and navigation one. And this is my combo 6 here, which is some live scope. This looks like a school bus, and some more down imaging and traditional. Some more of my combos here that I have is my fishing sonar one, which is pretty useful for finding spots offshore. And your unit will come with some default ones already set up, but you can tailor it however you want. Then I have one with traditional and clear view right here. And also, I have a fishing chart with traditional, so I can kind of find areas easier, especially offshore locations, or just to have a glance to see how shallow I am. It just really depends on the situation. But there's a lot of different ones, as you can see. So this one right here is your side imaging, your clear view, and your traditional. And this can be really useful whenever you want to pinpoint a fish. So this one would be used to see off to the side of the boat. This would be to see underneath the boat while you're going over. You can also mark points. So let's say you see some fish like right here. You can pause this, and then you can set a waypoint. And that can be pretty useful, especially whenever you find some cover and you want to go back and fish it later on. That's how you do it. There's a lot of different combos. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you get the point. So right here is the active captain. This is where you do your software updates, see your maps, all stuff like that. You can connect your phone to it, and there's quite a bit that you can do. You can get notifications on it. I'm not going to open it up. It has my email on it, but just know that it's there. This is inReach right here. I don't have this set up. As you can see, it's unpaired, but this enables SOS triggering and location sharing, and this is really important in case if you're in an emergency. I just don't have it set up yet. I don't have a device to set it up with. But here's your media. This is so you can play different types of music. And you have autopilot here, which I don't use this, but this is probably used in more saltwater applications. I don't use this at all. But you also have your different switches, but I'm pretty sure you need an additional unit to do this, and I do not currently have that set up. You can also look at the lighting here, which I don't use at all. I think you have to have a special unit for it, but anyways, the gauges here. I can't remember what the unit is called off the top of my head, but basically what the unit does, it plugs into your system and it can basically tell you about anything that goes on with your boat, your fuel, your motor, and just different stuff like that. I probably will set this up in the future. I just have not yet, but you can see some different things, your GPS speed, and you can see your position, and you can also see your depth, but this is in simulator mode, so I think it has this down in Florida right now. And you can also see your trip with a whole bunch of different features here, as you can see, like total time, stop time, moving time, max speed, odometer, trip odometer, moving average, TTL average, and fuel used. I'll definitely have to get this set up in the future, but as of right now, I don't. So, and it has one for Yamaha, one for Mercury, and your different engines. And you can also see wind on here, which is pretty interesting. And you can actually add a different gauge set depending on what you need. These are all the features covered over the 5 different categories. I didn't want to go into anything too crazy in depth. I mainly just wanted to show you the different features that came on the unit. This was my quick walkthrough of the different features that this unit has. I plan on doing more videos like this here in the future, but I really wanted to make this video before I got really big into fall fishing here. I'm planning on doing more videos about how to actually use your fish finder, how to use LiveScope, how to read charts, basically everything you need to know to actually use this unit effectively. So if that interests you and you made it this far anyways, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really does help out the channel a lot. And if you got any tips that you can leave in the comment section to help people getting into Garmin electronics, make sure you comment it down below. I will also be doing a video going over different tips and tricks that you should know about your Garmin unit. I have a lot of content planned out for how to actually use your fish finder. This is where I'm going to end the video today. I hope you enjoyed this video talking about the Garmin EchoMap Ultra 2 126 SB, and I'll see you guys in the next one.